And for most people, they'll find they're probably going a little bit quicker than that. I know from doing testing with people over the years, they tend to run too fast on their easy days. And if it's good enough for the best in the world to slow down, then I think it's good enough for all the rest of us as well.
Makes perfect sense to me. Anyway, I'm happy to slow down.
Don't have to tell me twice, Emmett.
Change man straight away.
No, but it is a breath of fresh air, because we've talked about the go slow to go fast, the miles in the legs, all the different what would you call it, taglines that everyone is using. But the methodology seems to be the same. It seems to be do what's comfortable. Have the awareness to listen to your body and the ability to tell yourself, I need to be able to train tomorrow. Today is not the day. You know, like it's that ability to keep consistent over the period of time. So whatever tagline it uses, it is still the same.
It's the same message.
It's the same message. Which is the important thing that people need to know. And most of the misconceptions about getting into endurance and running is I couldn't do that. I couldn't. And like people don't realize it's the 1K today and the 1.5K tomorrow and maybe a 4K on Wednesday. That start that gets people, that walk runs, that gets people out the door, all of a sudden over a 12-week period turns into 6-minute kilometers and 5-minute kilometers before they know it too quickly. It's great that it is a sport that has gotten so complicated, but yet the message is
but it's very simple. And the other thing is, all of us, we're great at looking forward at where we want to be in 6 or 9 months' time. We very rarely look back and see how far you've actually progressed over the last couple of weeks or the last couple of months. Most of us, if we compare, particularly if you're fairly new to the sport, look where you were 6 months ago or maybe 2 years ago, and like you'll have progressed an enormous amount. And I think sometimes we underestimate how much progress we can make, because we're not looking back where we came from. We're just looking, if I could take 1 more minute off my 5K, that'd be it. I'd be happy and retire then. And of course, as soon as that happens, you're just thinking, well, 30 seconds would be nice, wouldn't it?
Just to make it a little bit more complicated before we wrap things up, I want to talk a little bit about the other 10% or 20%, wherever your philosophy is, easy runs and the workout, the different speed sessions. So we've had a lot of different guests on the podcast with a lot of different approaches to this, and all have been very successful. Like we've had people that do pyramid runs for their long runs, so they go like a 6-minute kilometer pace to start, and then a 5:50, 5:40, etc. for every kilometer. They get near 4:10, whatever it is, for their last one, or they try and warm up for 5-10 minutes or whatever it is, and then hit marathon pace, or they'll go intervals on it for 2-3K at a faster marathon pace, slow it down and build it back up again from that. Do you think that's more of depending on the person, as long as they've got adherence to it and gets them out in training and consistency? Or is there a certain strategy you think benefits maybe one person's the other, or is there an overall better strategy for, in this case, marathon training? I know intervals are coming a lot more for the shorter stuff, but if we're talking just marathon training, do you have a favorite workout, so to speak, I suppose, for the majority of people to do?
So I guess when it comes to, I think even before you get to those individual workouts, I think the first thing you need to do with your week when you're training for a marathon is make sure that at least 80% of that week is just easy running. So that stuff that we've talked about, that zone 1, zone 2, heart rate is low, conversational pace. That's the first part. And then of the remaining 10 or 20%, whatever it might be, when you're in the final sort of 6 to 8 weeks before a marathon, I'd be inclined to do it very much at target marathon pace, or where your marathon fitness is dictating you are. So that could be depending on, it could be like, say, some of the elite guys might do like 8 or 9 or even 10 by a mile. But what I do is downsize that to any runner, depending if they're breaking 3 or breaking 4. And instead of doing 10 by a mile, they're doing 10 by 5 minutes.